Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. On this video, I will be driving through Vevay, Indiana. Now, this is a small Indiana town which I'm pretty sure many of you have never even heard of. Now, this small town is obviously it's located in the state of Indiana. It is located on the far southeast corner of the state of Indiana. Now, one way that you can get to this area is if you're traveling Interstate 71, there's an exit that actually has Vevay, Indiana written on it. It is spelled Venvay as the spelling on the title suggests. And now this exit is not, now when you approach this exit, for some reason, it's not going to be in real big letters like most exits are in. I mean, it's one of those type of exits that you kind of have to look very closely. If you don't look close, you can easily miss this particular exit. But yeah, this exit, it's, if you're traveling Interstate 71 in the state of Kentucky, you can get off this exit, and I would say from the time you get off that exit, I would say roughly about 20 minutes. Once you get off the exit, you'll reach this town. Now, this town is over an hour from Louisville, Kentucky. It's an hour and then 11 minutes from Louisville, Kentucky. It's an hour from Cincinnati, Ohio, and it's 45 minutes from Florence, Kentucky. So this area is actually the closest to the greater Cincinnati area. I mean, this is one of those type of towns that's a bit out the way, if you will. And I'm not sure how familiar people are with this town. I'm going to go on a limb, and I'm going to say a lot of people are not familiar with this town. Now, obviously, we're not quite in town yet. From this point, it's going to be a few minutes, give or take, before you get into the actual town. I just wanted to give you guys a little view of some of the highway that leads into this town. Now, of course, if you don't care about looking at the highway, or if you could care less about what I gotta say, then feel free to fast forward a little bit into the time I get into the actual town. But I figure I would take picture. I figure I would give you guys some footage of some of the beautiful backdrop that you guys can see on this highway. Now, obviously, all the construction going on, it doesn't exactly help with the beauty of the actual, it doesn't really help with the natural beauty with all that construction going on, but it's beautiful. At least to me it is. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to spare you guys a couple of minutes, and for those of you that want to look at all this, continue to look at all this. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to quit talking. I'm going to fast forward a little bit, and then I'll continue to talk and give some general information about the town. Alright folks, I'm going to start talking again at the 10-minute mark of this video. So you can either continue to watch this video and just look at the beautiful backdrop and the beautiful countryside of the freeway leading into the town, or you can fast forward to the 10-minute mark, and at the 10-minute mark I will start talking and giving out some general information about the actual town of Vevay, Indiana. Alright folks, I'm gonna pick up where I left off at. I thought, if I'm gonna talk about the town, I'll start talking, remember, in the town. Alright, so anyhow, the population of Vevay, Indiana, which is located in Switzerland County, Indiana, on the far southeast section of the state along the Ohio River. The population is 1,683 people, and this town has been growing at a rate of 3.4% as of the 2020 census. It is an hour and 11 minutes from Louisville, an hour from Cincinnati, 45 minutes to Florence, Kentucky. Excuse me a second. Okay. And as far as it goes for the average home price here, the average home price here is at $109,000. However, there is currently no houses that are for sale. And when it comes to the crime, according to the data, this city is safer than 43% of other U.S. cities. Which, to be quite frank, in my humble opinion, that piece of data doesn't mean two craps. To me, that's very generic. Now, when it comes to violent crime, a person has 1 in 154. One in 154 people will become a victim of a violent crime in this in this town. And the average for the state of Indiana is 1 in 319. So, in accordance to Indiana standards, this town does have significantly higher violent crime rate in Indiana standards. Now, I'm not 100% sure how it would compare nationally. I didn't look it up. I should have looked it up, but I didn't. My apologies. But when it comes to property crime, a person, 1 in 188 people will become a victim of property crime. In Indiana, average for that would be 1 in 60. So property crime here is extremely low. And if I had to take a guess, I would say the violent crime here, even on a national level, is fairly low. Now, as I was driving through the town, there's no neighborhoods that I drove through that I would say, yeah, this is a bad area. Now, there are areas here where the houses are a little smaller than others, but I would say for the most part, the majority of these communities are relatively clean. They appear to be quiet, and the majority of the yards appear to be well kept. And the houses, for the most part, don't look too bad. I didn't see a bunch of graffiti. I didn't see a bunch of trash all over the place. This to me appears to be a quiet, low-key, southern Indiana town. And I'm going to go on a limb and say that this town is a relatively safe place to live, provided that you would be able to even find a place to live, whether it be rent or purchasing. There were 2 houses on the Realtor.com website. However, both of those houses are under contract. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no houses currently available. And of course, what you guys are looking at in front of you is the Ohio River. This town, it's a beautiful town. It's a beautiful town. Now, obviously the river right now, the water is brown, but outside of that, the town in itself is beautiful. I mean, I like the backdrop of this town. I mean, it's definitely a beautiful place to live and call home, provided that you would be able to find housing here. I mean, it's only an hour from Cincinnati, so when it comes to larger city amenities and work, you got Cincinnati. 45 minutes from here, you got Florence, Kentucky, which is of course greater Cincinnati. And you're only a little over an hour from Louisville. So although this town is kind of out of the way, it's a low-key place that I don't think a lot of people really know about. Unless, of course, you're familiar with this region of the United States. I mean, I would say this town is one of Indiana's best kept secrets, if you ask me. This is one of Indiana's / greater Cincinnati area best kept secrets. I mean, it's nice and quiet here. It's low key. The houses look nice. The town has a beautiful backdrop of rolling hills and the Ohio River. Now, as far as it goes for the racial makeup of the city, it's 91.7% white, only 1% black, and 4.6% Asian. And Niche gives this city a C for the city grade. Which again, to me, that doesn't mean two craps. Because I think when it comes to a grade of a city, now sometimes a grade of a city it might be in line with what the city really is. Other times, I don't know, I think they're just kind of pulling certain pieces of information out their butt. I don't think they're really doing in-depth research sometimes. So the whole C grade for the city, I mean, at this point, it doesn't mean too much to me. This is one of those type of cities where if you want to move here and you see a house you want to buy and you want to move here, no, just come here. Go to a local restaurant, grab you a bite to eat, sit down, talk to a couple of locals, and see what they gotta say. That's my best advice to this type of a community. Come down here and interact with a couple of locals and ask them a few questions. Now, as it goes for activities in this city, I mean, this city does hold a yearly wine festival, which they hold it in the last week of August. And they've been having this, and this has been a routine. I mean, this has been a regular routine since the 1970s. Now, as far as a few things to do here, obviously, there's not going to be a whole lot to do, given that this is a small town. But a few things. These things I'm getting ready to name off, they're more or less of, well, I don't know. Anyhow, let me keep on going. You can visit the Hoosier Theater, which was built in 1837. You can visit the Armstrong Tavern, which is a 2-story log cabin built in 1816. You got the Benjamin Franklin Mansion, which is a 35-bedroom mansion built in 1874. And a bunch of these places I'm naming off, you're going to most likely see sometime throughout this video as I drive, because the majority of these places are going to be located close to the downtown or in the downtown area of this town. You also got the Switzerland Company Courthouse, which was built in 1822. You got the Switzerland County Historic Museum. You can go visit that. You got the Life of Ohio River Museum as well. So if you're looking to learn a little more history of Vevay, Indiana / Switzerland County, feel free to visit those two museums. And as it goes for some history about this city, which I have a little bit, not much, but just a little. The first settlers were Swiss immigrants that came here in 1802. They cultivated grapes and produced wine. And this city had a reputation at some point of being the home of the first commercial winery in the United States, but it was later discovered that that title really belonged to Nicholasville, Kentucky. And this town, Vevay, Indiana was incorporated into a town in 1836. So like I said, in my humble opinion, if you're just out here driving around like I am, and you're looking for something to do and don't want to necessarily pay a bunch of money for crap, I mean, this is one of those type of towns that honestly, just jump in your vehicle, drive down here, drive through the town, and go on about your life. I mean, this is a very nice town to look at, in my opinion. Now, right now, the beauty that this town has to offer, many of you may not be able to see it to its fullest because it's wintertime right now. But, I would say about a couple of months or so later, when a lot of these trees start to bloom and you start to see leaves on the tree, the grass starts to turn greener and everything like that, the beauty of, you guys will be able to see the beauty of this town. Like I said, this is a very beautiful town in Southeast Indiana. Alright, folks. I'm going to quit talking and I'm going to let you guys enjoy the rest of the video. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, consider doing that. And as always, I appreciate every last one of you for what you do. Leave comments below. Give me thumbs up to help with the YouTube algorithm. And on that note, you guys have a blessed one, and I'll see you on the next one.